everybody, welcome back. And today I've got just another 5 products video for you. You guys know I can talk. If you are new to my channel, these 5 products videos are just, I pick a category and then I talk about 5 products, because if I don't, then you guys know my ass will be here talking for 5 hours and you guys don't want to see that. So just a little catch me up on that. But guys, today I want to talk about something that I've really been enjoying lately, and these are cool toned eyeshadow palettes. There are 5 that I've been playing around with, creating some looks with, and I've just been really enjoying. And it's weird because if you know me, if you watched a lot of my tutorials, you guys know I love the warm tones. I think they just really set off my eyes. I like them because I'm a little bit fairer and I feel like they don't wash me out as much, but I have found a new appreciation for cool toned eyeshadows. So if you guys want to see what cool toned eyeshadow palettes I've really been digging on lately, then stick around. So the first one I want to talk about is actually the one I'm wearing on my eyes today. And if you like this look, stick around towards the end of the week, I believe. I'm not sure. It should be up sometime this week. But this is the Chrysalis palette from Kat Von D. Guys, I know it's limited edition. You guys, I'm just going to talk about limited edition stuff because I have it in my collection. I like to use it, and somewhere, somehow, there are people out there that have these palettes, so why not talk about them, right? They don't die after they become limited edition and move on to the makeup netherworld. But this palette right here, I love this palette, and I have been playing around with this palette and creating different looks just because I'm trying to, you know, come up with the one that I wanted to do for this collaboration. And this is one of those palettes that I just kind of picked up because I found it at TJ Maxx for 20 bucks, and I know I like Kat Von D eyeshadows, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna pick up that palette. It was one of those kind of just on the moment impulsive things, even though these are shadows that don't usually draw me in. But I've got to say, I really enjoy this palette, and I'll tell you why. This is one of those palettes that does have a lot of cool tones in it, but in each of these quads, I want to say there's at least one color that pulls a little bit warm. And this middle one, Blood Milk, is a very kind of sneaky transition color. It's very neutral. It's very much like Kid, where it can pull warm or cool, I feel like, depending on what you're wearing. But I feel like, especially in the way I have it in this look today, it pulls very warm, and it adds just a nice touch of warmth to a cool toned look, which is a good way to wear eyeshadows, cool toned eyeshadows, just to throw something in there sneakily. Generally, I like it in a transition shade that's a little bit more warm, and it just brings some life back to the face. I feel like these purple shades, what are they, Tournay and Entombed, definitely lean a little bit more warmer purple. And I actually even feel like this blue, what is this? This is Mezzanine. I feel like this blue leans a little bit to the warm side, which generally you don't think of blues being warm, but I feel like this one definitely has a little bit of warmth in there, and that could just be the vivacity of the color, but I like it, and I like this eyeshadow palette. So I like a cool toned eyeshadow palette that sneaks some of those colors in there just because it just makes it easier, and it makes cool tones a little bit less intimidating. Plus, Kat Von D's formula is amazing. Love this palette. It's good. All right, guys. The next palette I want to talk about, you have seen me use in tutorials recently, and again, this is one I've been playing around with just to try out some different tutorials. Generally, when I do a tutorial, I'll try out a couple of different looks and then decide what I want to film. And this is the Naked 2 Basics. I really like this palette, and this is a palette I didn't pay a lot of attention to when I first got it. I really got it because, again, all of these palettes I just kind of picked up for reasons other than I like the shades, but I love the Naked Basics 2, and I feel like I picked this one up just because I liked this one so much. I've got to say, in comparison, I feel like there's a kind of more of a definition or more of a gradient in the Naked Basics 2, which makes it a little bit easier to create a wider variety of looks, although I think this palette is very versatile. But you have like 4 really light colors, and then one kind of medium tone color, and then a really black. This one kind of lends itself to a more subtle yet greater variety of colors, if that makes sense, and I really like it. And again, they throw in a warm shade in here. People are like, this is a cool tone palette. It is, but this cover shade is really, it's got a nice, again, it's one of those like, it's like Kid from MAC. It's like the shade in the Kat Von D palette. It's got a little bit of sneaky warmth to it that it's kind of sneaky. You wouldn't necessarily look at the palette and be like, oh, that's warm, but when you get it on the eye, it just translates and it adds a beautiful warmth to the eye look. Plus, I love Urban Decay shades. I think these palettes are fantastic. They're great for travel. I love the Naked Basics palette, and I've always loved this one. Like, this one is just, do you see how beat up this one is? Like, if I hit pan on an eyeshadow palette, it's going to be WOS in the Naked Basics, but that's not what we're here for. But this one I have just a growing love and respect for, and I'm starting to get some wear out of these shadows. It's starting to see a lot more love. The next palette I want to talk about, I just recently did a swatch test for, and that is the Lorac Pirates of the Caribbean palette. And there are a lot of people passing on this palette. There are a lot of people anti-hauling this palette, and I don't know why. Other than the packaging, yes, the packaging's bulky, but I like it. It's kitschy, it's fun. I love Pirates of the Caribbean, blah, blah, blah. But this is such a great cool tone palette with a lot of really unique, interesting colors in here. Now, if you have every Lorac palette ever, the Pro 1, the Pro 2, the Pro 3, the Mega Pros 1, 2, and 3, then, do you already have these shades? Most likely, yes. You probably have these shades. But if you don't, and you want a cool tone palette with some really beautiful, cool toned, unique shades in here, this palette is phenomenal. And I hear people talk all the time, there's so many, you know, cool toned neutral palettes out there. Not as many as there are warm tone, but there's a lot of cool tone neutral palettes out here. But here you have a cool tone palette that has a lot of color all together. There is one row that is a little bit warmer, but I would say even this Compass shade right here has a little bit of coolness to it. And somebody said, you know, this palette looks very kind of cluttered and not organized, but to my eyes, I'm trying to hold this up, to my eyes, they really did kind of organize these colors in groups. But to my eyes, they really did organize this palette in color groups that go really well together. Like when I swatched them going this way, I got so many ideas for color combinations and looks. In fact, I think I'm gonna do a Fresh Fierce Fabulous with this palette. That's an old school tutorial series that I'm about to bring back, where I take a palette and instead of just doing 3 looks with it, I'm going to do one that's very easy, everyday, fresh, one that I am just feeling, that's my fabulous look, and then one that is like super over the top, diva, drag inspired, structured look. So let me know if you'd be interested in seeing a Fresh Fierce Fabulous with this look, because I like it. So while there is, again, this row of cool tone or warm tone shades, overall it's overridingly cool. There is a lot of colors in here for a cool tone palette. So I have really, really been liking that one. I cannot believe people are passing on it. It is the Pro formula. It's a good palette. Get past the packaging. If you can get past the packaging, what you get in here is so good, because it is the Pro formula. It's like having another Pro palette or another Mega Pro palette. So I like it. Fourth palette I want to talk about is relatively new to my collection. I just did a tutorial on it, which I will link up here or up here. I never know where they are, but it'll be up here somewhere. And this is the Urban Decay Naked 2. I don't know why I've never picked this up before. I just haven't. But I've got to say, I've really been enjoying this palette and reaching for this palette a lot. Again, this is a more taupey, cool toned palette, but again, I like it because there are some really beautiful warmer toned shades in there that help to really just balance out a look. I think of all of the Naked palettes, this is the most complete palette, at least for me, because I have a matte highlight, I have a matte transition, and I have a matte deep dark crease shade. So I really appreciate that, and this is quickly becoming my favorite Naked palette. So this one's really good. So if you have this one in your collection and you're like, I really don't wear cool tones, okay, well, this one does have a lot of cool tones in it, but you can bring in some of these warmer tones to really make it more wearable and make it more flattering to a wider range of people. So I really do like this palette, and I have really been enjoying that one lately. And then the last palette I want to talk about is actually a palette I got off of Poshmark, and this is one that came in BoxyCharm. I do not do BoxyCharm, but this one I was really, really interested in, and I think I got it for like $8 on Poshmark. For those of you who don't know what Poshmark is, but you like to collect palettes, or there's certain palettes that you're looking for, or you're really interested in a palette but you don't want to spend the money, check out my video on Poshmark. I'll link that above, and I'll link it below, because it's a great way to buy used makeup, but that's safe and kind of guarantees that you're going to get what you are supposed to get. But so I got this, picked up this palette, and this is the Studio Makeup On The Go eyeshadow palette, and this is in the Cool Down shade. So This is a $50 palette, although it doesn't have a mirror, so but I did get this palette, and I really like this palette. I have reached for this palette kind of for everyday, just basic shadows. I will use this kind of cream shade. I'll use all over. I'll use this base shade. I'll use a little bit of this purple shade, this kind of plummy cool tone purple in the crease, and then I'll just pick one of these lid shades, like this lid shade. Hello, beautiful taupey color. I mean, the shimmers in here are awesome. I have heard some people say that the mattes, they don't have a lot of luck with, but I really like them. They feel nice and silky. They blend really nicely. They don't really go anywhere. So I really don't have, oh, hello, it'd probably help if I got a swatch. So I really have been enjoying this palette, surprisingly. I just kind of picked it up on a whim because I wanted to try it out since there was so much hype around it for a while, since it was coming in the BoxyCharm. But yeah, this is one of those palettes I just picked up. I can say that for all of these. I just picked them up because I just on a whim, or because I like the packaging, or because I just was interested, even though I don't really go for these purpley, cool toned kind of shadows. I just don't, but I've really been liking them over the past month. And I've got to say, I've been doing more cool tone looks than I have warm tone looks, which is very odd for me. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any of these palettes, or if you're interested, or let me know what your favorite cool tone palettes are down below, since I'm diving into this whole new world of palettes, and I'm just loving it. As always, guys, I want to shout somebody out today, and for me that's going to be Tara Babies. I love Tara. She is a larger YouTuber on here, but I don't think she has nearly the audience that she deserves. She is very knowledgeable about makeup because she tries so much stuff, high-end, drugstore, and everything in between. She is just super knowledgeable about makeup. When I really want to invest in makeup, and especially something more high-end, she's the first person I go to, because she's probably reviewed it and hauled it and demoed it and everything else, and I just adore her. So if you are not subscribed to Tara, go check her out, show her some love, because she is fantastic. She's so unassuming. There's cats in her video every single time. Phoebe is always in her video, which PETA he appreciates, don't you, PETA? Yeah, he does. That's his YouTube crush. But guys, thanks so much for hanging out, talking about makeup with me. I hope you enjoyed this video featuring my most recent favorite cool tone palettes. Again, let me know your thoughts down below. I always love talking to you guys. But as always, have an amazing day. Have a rockin' week, and I will see you next time. Bye, guys.